We've got some for you up front or in the back. We've never needed them. The river is between 1 and 4 feet deep for the most part, so if you wind up in the water, just stand up. You'll be all right. And regardless, I have a boat hook and a throw ring and a first aid kit, and we've got fire extinguishers front and back. We've got an anchor on board. We have a flare gun for some reason that I cannot discern, and I've got a radio. I think I keep them in the coolers back here. Let me see. How many of you guys, show of hands, how many of y'all have taken the tour before? Thank you for your continued support. Welcome back. How many of y'all have had me for a captain before? Okay. Well, I apologize in advance. The jokes don't get any funnier with repetition, but I have stolen a few new ones recently, so should still be all right. Heading on the right. Hey, for the rest of you guys, thanks for finding us. You're supporting Florida's last Ranger-led boat program. All others are managed by a concessionaire at this point. Palm Springs is the last holdout. Thank you. The only people who take you out to show you this river are park volunteers and park rangers, people who have a genuine love and respect for the river and its wildlife, and I'd like to think that it shows. We're not out here throwing marshmallows at the gators, none of that nonsense. We've got our first shell station of the tour there on the left. Ooh, and good eyes, sir. On the right, we've got a yellow-crowned night hare. And up above us somewhere, check out this night hare. You're looking for a gray and black bird, about a foot tall, sporting a yellow mohawk like I did. These are the goths of the Wakulla River. Right? You don't usually see these guys out on sunny days. Sunny days they hang out in their bedrooms listening to Susan and Banshees and writing poems. We've got another night heron coming up on the right. And I can't see that osprey, but I can hear him. Fish hawk's wild out. So yeah, night heron on the right, he's about 6, 7 feet up off the water, and you'll know you've spotted him when you feel judged. The yellow-crowned night heron is not mad, he's just disappointed. Over here on the right, the bird with the candy corn beak is a common gallinule. That one with them is a juvenile common gallinule. Some folks call them river hens or swamp chickens. They have chicken feet instead of duck feet. They're not powerful swimmers. They are excellent surfers, however. As we round this corner, the tour really begins. With the side of the lodge, the tower, all that stuff. Here on out, it's just us and the river. Anywhere we look, we might see an alligator, so I'll be watching your fingers. If you see one before I do, don't be shy. Go ahead and point. They won't get offended. And he got on the left catching some rays. Wow.
Is that an alligator coming up the front? Right in front of us. Almost to the left. On the floor, right in front of us on the left.
Can't see, sorry. But I do know we've got a whole bunch of them coming up on the right here, up on the bank. You guys on the left, feel free to stand. $254 million years in the making.
No.
Miracles of engineering. Alligators can hold their breath for hours at a time. They can lower their heart rate to 1 beat a minute. They can go 6 months between meals.
One.
No se paren mucho.
Now, just so I know what I'm working with, show of hands. How many of y'all think alligators are cute?
Me.
Okay.
On the plate.
How many of y'all think alligators are gross or scary or a variation on that theme? Okay. How many of y'all are completely indifferent to alligators and just could not care less? Okay. I just like to know what I'm working with. I tend to think of them as kind of cute. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that alligators aren't dangerous. They are absolutely dangerous. They can swim up to 35 miles an hour. They can run up to 20 miles an hour. They can grow up to 16 feet, although most of them only have 4. They have 80 teeth, and those teeth sit in a pair of jaws that will close with 3,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. So cute, not cuddly. But they're also not the monsters that a lot of people think of them as being. They're a much maligned and misunderstood creature, just trying to make a living like the rest of us. Yeah, crocodiles, that's a whole other story. Crocodiles, the Nile crocodile eats about 1,000 human beings a year. They're one of the only animals on Earth that thinks it lets its food. But alligators, much more docile, more risk averse. Gator on the right. And like most critters, they would rather be left alone by humans than encounter us. Look at that smile, boy. Towards the end of the tour.
Check it out.
So kind of behind us. But I'll talk a whole lot about the movies. I can't help myself. Don't get me started early. That was an ibis back there on the right. Let's see if I can find us another one. We're going to pass our dry dock on the right. Wakulla County's only work and roller goes through. Where these boats go, they need a little bit of work done. The tracks are stamped 1948, so they've seen a lot of oil changes down the years. Ed Ball used to own a railroad company, so he probably got those tracks at a deep discount. And I'm looking for a gator on the right. She's very reliable. She has volunteers, so we can't be mad if she walked out early. Look at this. Here on the left, we've got a whole bunch of manatees, also known as a water turkey or a snake bird. They have a razor-sharp stiletto blade for a beak that they use to spear fish. Bring them up to the surface, toss them up in the air like popcorn, catch them face first every time.
El alligator se fue, parece que era voluntario.
the scales get stuck in your throat. You don't grow up to have anything to zero. So they all know that you're White Ibis coming up on the right. Any Miami Hurricanes fans on board who are willing to admit it? That's the mascot right there. Sebastian, he's a White Ibis. Folks used to call him hurricane birds. They tend to be the first to flee when a storm is coming and the first to come home when the coast is clear. Got a double crested cormorant coming up on the right.
Parece unos peces por ahí.
In her natural resting state, which is looking confused. And an anhinga on the right. Gator on the right down there in the water. And now before we get any farther, it's something that I'd like to do for you guys that I learned from one of the old-time captains, Jeff Hicks, the mayor of Wakulla Springs. Jeff taught me a whole lot, but the best thing he taught me about driving the boats is to cut the engine once in a while. Give the river a chance to speak for itself. If we're all quiet for just a moment, the critters kind of forget we're here. We can hear what they talk about when we're not around. Thank you guys for humoring me. We've gone about a mile and a half. We're going to start heading back upriver. I do want to point out the view up ahead of us, though. There's 2 more miles of this river inside the park. No one's been permitted past this point for over 60 years except the park biologists. A couple times a year we go out in canoes to conduct wildlife surveys, for instance, but for the most part those animals out there, they've never seen a human being. They've never heard an engine turn over. That's what I love most about this park. There's almost 7,000 acres of it, most of which is not only off limits to y'all, it's even off limits to us. I've been here 5 years. I've never been more than 20 yards past the turnaround. When less than 5% of this country is wild, every little bit that remains, like what's out there, is priceless. We already see a manatee on this tour. No? You guys on the right, feel free to stand. The aisle is long, we got a manatee on the left. And you guys on the left, since y'all already have the best views, if y'all keep your seats for the folks behind you. If you have polarized shades, pop them on. She kind of ducked out on us, didn't she? As soon as I pointed her out. Well, it's like that sometimes. Like I said, they're all volunteers. They do what they like. Oh, here we go. Another manatee on the left. I was love, guys.
¿Dónde? Ya no veo nada. Ah, ya.
Let's see if we'll come up for air. They are mammals like us. They come up for air every 2 or so minutes on average. I think what we have is a mom and a baby all. That's mom. And there's the baby. What more could you possibly want in life
Sí.
than to see a baby manatee?
¿Lo viste vos?
That's as good as it
Son tres,
gets.
¿no?
Parece entre
All
tatuajes.
right, now I'm off the hook, right? Coming up for air one more time.
Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío.
All right, now what we're going to look for is baby alligators on the right in this vegetation raft next to the boat. Y'all on the left, feel free to stand. We got any baby alligators down in here? Yep, two baby alligators.
Ángel, por favor.
Yeah, y'all on the left can stand if you want. Right here and right here. Look at those little faces. Tell me you're not willing to revise your opinion on whether or not alligators are cute. Look at that little face. Now again, I'm not saying they're not dangerous. They're cute. As we complete the turn, we'll probably see some turtles hanging out. I've been told if one of these turtles on the right waves at you, it's bad luck on the way back. So mind your manners as we go. Got these two here having a staring contest. They're both going to win. World's slowest conga line right there. I've got like 15 more minutes of turtle material. We'll be able to have that kind of time. I was given a tour a while back, and this guy points out there on the left and says, "Y'all are growing corn dogs out here." And that was funnier than anything I've ever said on one of my tours. Incidentally, cattails aren't corn dogs. If you're something with sketch on them, you gotta know the difference. There's some sinister people in this world. behind the silver, right? 3 fun facts about them. They're little, they're blue, and they're herons. I hear they're on the right. Good eye on. And a little green heron coming up on the right. I also know 3 fun facts about them. So I'm like jumping, trying to get in the picture. We got some athletic pulling out. Don't go swimming at night and don't approach their nest. So there you go.
un manatí, pero grande.
Manatee on the left. And I'm gonna guess a gator on the right. But it's just a guess. They just like to read. Maybe another manatee on the right. Hiding in the glare. I always joke about how they're great surfers. We very seldom actually get to see one on a raft taking off. Look at this back here. Patty and Scout are actually Patty is one resource manager of the state 3 times, I think, including this year. So if an invasive species shows up, it's made a terrible mistake. Not on her watch. We do still have some hydrilla in the river, but only in the areas where it's too shallow for the manatee to get to it. They take care of that for us. Or the river now. Oh, this gator's got the battery.
There's a baby one.
Oh, nice. Baby gator on the left. Old gator on the right. Anyway, filming carried on into the 1970s. Movies like Airport 77. Showed Panther. And other movies you've never heard of as well. Movies like Night Moves starring Gene Hackman. They came out the same week as Jaws, which is why you've never heard of Night Moves starring Gene Hackman. And speaking of Jaws, Steven Spielberg was such a fan of the creature from the Black Lagoon. Not only did he borrow scenes from it when he made Jaws, he required all of his interns to watch it if they wanted to work on the picture. It starred a Wakulla Springs lifeguard by the name of Rico for hunting as the Gill Man. Rico's a fascinating figure in Florida film history. He played the Gill Man in all three films. He became a trailblazing marine cinematographer, marine stuntman, stunt coordinator, and eventually a writer-director. His biggest success was the movie Flipper. But here we'll always think of him as the creature. Rico, no, he passed away a couple of years ago. He's 93 at the time. Coming up on the left, the strangest and most dangerous animals on this tour. Human beings. The creature's so violent, so unpredictable, that even alligators avoid it if they can help it. Folks ask me all the time, is there a dad from that rope? Is that there to keep the gators out? No, that's there to keep you away. And you know, I've had to explain the rules on alligators to alligators on far fewer occasions than I have human beings. Our gator's brains only weigh about a third of an ounce. That's funny. Anyway, that puts us out into the spring hole. It's the largest and deepest freshwater spring in the world. It produces 400,000 gallons of water on average every minute. It will fill a swimming pool every 6 seconds. It would fill the entire Grand Canyon in just 87 years. Once crystal clear year-round for centuries, the population of Florida has grown 600% in the last 60 years. And with that population growth has come increased agricultural needs, lawns being fertilized, septic tanks being installed. Those nutrients find their way into the groundwater, tinting it green, and consequently, the last glass bottom boat tour left the dock in 2017. Do you have a question? Stormwater treatment programs like the park and Cascades aren't having a positive effect because the our environmental practices and regulations don't grow at the same rate that our population does. It leaves the treasures that bring people to Florida in the first place. Thank you very much. I'm glad y'all are here. The spring itself is 180 feet underneath the dive tower, tall and wide, and it's a 4-lane highway. Here on the right, it's this weird little shack. I don't know what it is, but it gives me the creeps. What is it for? Why does it look like Jason Voorhees lives in it? Why do they keep having those dreams? Anyway, here's the dive tower. And I applaud anybody that'll jump off of something that high into water that cold.